John Carter stepped off the transport ship and onto the gleaming floor of Nexus Station. This was his first time away from Earth. The air smelled different here, clean but artificial. Bright lights reflected off polished surfaces. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around him, some glancing at him with curious eyes. "Ambassador Carter, welcome to Nexus Station." A blue-skinned alien with large silver eyes approached him. "I am Mira, your liaison officer. It is my duty to help you adjust to life on the station and prepare you for your duties with the Galactic Council." John nodded and smiled. "Thank you, Mira. I appreciate the welcome." He carried only one small bag. In his 45 years, John had learned to travel light. The diplomatic corps had chosen him because of his calm nature and quick thinking. What they told the aliens was that he had been a cultural ambassador for 20 years. What they didn't mention was his other career. "The Council has scheduled your first meeting for tomorrow," Mira said as they walked through the main concourse. "Several members are excited to meet Earth's representative." "And the others?" John asked. Mira hesitated. "Some are concerned about humanity joining the Council. Your species has advanced very quickly." John had been briefed about this. Earth had gone from discovering spaceflight to faster-than-light travel in just 100 years. Most species took 500 years or more. This made some aliens nervous. "We're eager to learn from older civilizations," John said diplomatically. As they walked, he noticed a group of tall, reptilian aliens watching him. Their scales were dark red, and they wore elaborate metal armor. One of them, clearly the leader, narrowed his yellow eyes at John. "Who are they?" John asked quietly. "Zoraxians," Mira whispered, "led by High Chancellor Vrex. They control the largest military force in the Council. They have been vocal about their concerns regarding humans." John made a mental note. The Zoraxians would be trouble. They entered a transport tube that would take them to the diplomatic quarters. As the doors closed, John felt something was wrong. His instincts, honed by years of experience, alerted him just before the transport tube suddenly jerked and began accelerating too fast. "This isn't right," Mira said, panic in her voice. "The system has malfunctioned." The tube was now racing at dangerous speeds. Mira lost her balance, but John caught her with one arm while bracing himself against the wall with the other. The transport showed no signs of slowing. John's mind worked quickly. This was no malfunction. He spotted the manual override panel. With precise movements that betrayed years of training, he pried it open and pulled the emergency brake. The transport screeched to a halt, throwing them forward, but John had already positioned himself to absorb the impact. "Are you hurt?" he asked Mira. She looked at him with surprise. "No. How did you react so quickly?" John smiled. "Just lucky, I guess." Station security arrived minutes later, apologizing for the mechanical failure. John nodded and accepted their explanation, but he knew better. Someone had tried to kill him on his first day. Later, in his quarters, John stood by the window looking out at the stars. Earth was just a tiny blue dot from here. He touched the small scar on his neck, a reminder of his past life. Before becoming a diplomat, John had been known by another name among Earth's special forces, a name whispered with fear by enemies, a name that meant death was coming. Baba Yaga. He had hoped to leave that life behind. But as he looked at the security footage he had secretly copied from the transport tube, he saw the sabotage clearly. This was just the beginning. Someone on the Galactic Council wanted him dead. They had no idea who they were dealing with. John Carter would play the diplomat. But if necessary, Baba Yaga would emerge from the shadows. 3 weeks passed, and John Carter surprised everyone with his diplomatic skills. In meetings, he spoke clearly and listened carefully. He found common ground with species that had little in common with humans. Even alien representatives who had been suspicious of him began to warm up. "You have a natural talent for this," said Mira as they walked from a successful trade negotiation. The Pluvians rarely agree to anything on first meetings. John smiled. People are people, even when they have tentacles instead of arms. Only the Zoraxians remained cold. High Chancellor Vrex watched John with narrowed eyes during every council session. His followers did the same. John pretended not to notice, but he missed nothing. One evening, John sat alone in his quarters reviewing documents when his door chimed. "Come in," he called. A human woman entered. She had dark hair pulled back and wore the blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. John recognized her as Lisa Martinez, the administrative attaché who had been on the station for 3 years. "Ambassador Carter," she said, "I hope I'm not disturbing you." "Not at all. What can I do for you?" Lisa sat down across from him. "I came to warn you. You're making waves, and not everyone is happy about it." John put down his tablet. "The Zoraxians. Them and others. Earth is advancing too quickly for their comfort. You're proving humans belong at the table, and that frightens them." As she spoke, memories flashed in John's mind. A night mission in the rain, the weight of his weapon, the whispers of enemies as they realized who hunted them. "Trust no one on the station," Lisa continued. "Some species have been planning against Earth for years." John thanked her for the warning. After she left, he checked his security measures again. Then he returned to his diplomatic work. 2 days later, the Galactic Council held a formal reception. Representatives from 30 worlds gathered in the Grand Hall. John wore his formal Earth uniform and moved through the crowd, shaking hands, tentacles, and claws. "Ambassador Carter," a voice hissed behind him. He turned to see Chancellor Vrex approaching with 2 other Zoraxians. "Chancellor," John nodded respectfully. "I'm glad you could join us." "Your species moves too quickly," Vrex said without greeting. Others advance step by step over centuries. Humans leap forward without understanding the dangers. "We're quick learners," John replied calmly. Vrex leaned closer. "Some things should not be learned." As Vrex walked away, John noticed a small green alien approaching with drinks. Something seemed off about the way the server moved. John's instincts, honed from years in the field, tingled with warning. The server tripped near John, sending drinks flying toward him. But instead of clear liquid, John saw a faint blue mist rising from the spilled drinks. Poison. Without thinking, John stepped back and bumped into another diplomat, avoiding the spray. In the same motion, his hand shot out, appearing to steady the falling server, but actually pressing a nerve point that rendered the would-be assassin unconscious. "Too much celebration," John said loudly with a laugh. He signaled security to remove the drunk server while other diplomats chuckled at the incident. Only Lisa Martinez, watching from across the room, noticed what really happened. Her eyes widened as she saw John's perfect reaction time. That was not the move of a career diplomat. Later that night, John sat in his quarters reviewing security footage again. The server had disappeared from the detention area. Someone with access had helped the assassin escape. The door chimed again. It was Lisa. "Who are you, really?" she asked as soon as the door closed. John looked at her calmly. "I'm Earth's diplomat to the Galactic Council." "No diplomat moves like you did tonight," she said. "I worked with special forces before joining the diplomatic corps. I know a soldier when I see one." John stayed silent. "I'm on your side," Lisa said. "But if you want to survive here, you'll need help." John studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded slightly. "Close the door," he said. "We need to talk." High Chancellor Vrex sat at the head of a large table in a private room deep within the Zoraxian embassy. 5 other alien diplomats joined him. Each represented a different species, but they all shared one belief. Humans were dangerous. "The diplomats survived 2 attempts," growled Vrex. "We must try something more direct." An insect-like alien clicked its mandibles. "The human chose unusual skills for a diplomat." "All humans are unpredictable," said a tall, thin alien with gray skin. "This is why they threaten the order we have maintained for centuries." Vrex nodded. I have contacted someone from the Shadowed Worlds, a professional who has never failed. The others murmured in approval. The Shadowed Worlds existed beyond Council space, where assassins and criminals operated freely. The cost is high, warned Frex. We will all contribute, said the gray alien, for the safety of the Council. Meanwhile, John spent his days in diplomatic meetings. He secured trade agreements and cultural exchanges that would benefit Earth. Many Council members now supported humanity's bid to join. But at night, John became someone else. He slipped through the station's maintenance tunnels, placed tiny cameras in strategic locations, and monitored communications. After his talk with Lisa, they had formed a cautious alliance. She provided access codes to diplomatic channels, while he shared his suspicions. I intercepted some encrypted messages. John told her in his quarters, which he swept for bugs every night. Can you decode them? Lisa asked. Not yet, but the pattern suggests coordinated efforts from multiple embassies. John didn't tell her everything. He didn't mention the encrypted message he had received from Earth Command yesterday. Protocol Omega authorized if necessary. Protocol Omega meant he could drop his diplomatic cover and act as Baba Yaga if the situation demanded it. Earth valued his mission enough to risk an interstellar incident. The next day, John visited a small bar in the station's lower levels. Few diplomats came here, preferring the upscale lounges in the diplomatic sector. The usual, Ambassador? Asked Sam, the four-armed alien behind the bar. Sam looked like a cross between a human and an octopus, with blue skin and a friendly smile. John had discovered that bartenders often knew more than security officers about what happened on stations. Thanks, Sam. Anything interesting happening lately? Sam leaned closer. Someone's been asking about you. Not one of ours. Off-worlder. Dark cloak, face hidden. John kept his expression neutral as he sipped his drink. Just curious about Earth, probably. This wasn't curiosity, Sam said quietly. This was hunting. Later that night, Lisa met John in a quiet garden area that was closed for maintenance. They had determined it was one of the few truly secure places to talk. I found something, she said, handing him a data chip. Transit records for 6 diplomats. They all met secretly 3 days ago. John reviewed the information. All 6 represent worlds that oppose Earth's membership. There's more, Lisa said. A ship docked yesterday from the Shadowed Worlds. No registered passenger, but station sensors detected life forms boarding. John's face grew serious. He had tangled with assassins from the Shadowed Worlds before. They were the best in the galaxy. I need to know who you really are, Lisa insisted. If we're going to work together, I need the truth. John studied her face for a long moment, weighing his options. On Earth, in certain circles, I had a code name, he finally said. Not many know it, and those who do rarely speak it. What name? Lisa asked. Before John could answer, his secure communicator vibrated. He checked it and saw a message from Sam. Someone broke into your quarters. Security doesn't know yet. John stood up immediately. We need to go. Now. What is it? Lisa asked, alarmed by his sudden change. The hunter has arrived, John said. And the hunt has already begun. John and Lisa moved quickly through the station's service corridors. Few people knew these pathways existed, but John had memorized them his first week on Nexus. We can't go to your quarters if someone's waiting there, Lisa said. We're not running away, John replied. His voice had changed. It was cooler, more focused. We're approaching from a different angle. They reached a maintenance hatch near John's quarters. He pulled out a small device and checked the security feeds he had secretly installed. There, he whispered, pointing to a shadow moving inside his rooms. The figure was humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin had a metallic sheen, and its movements were unnaturally smooth. A Krell assassin, John said. One of the deadliest in the galaxy. How do you know that? Lisa asked. John didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his boot and removed something that looked like a pen. With a twist, it extended into a short metal rod. "Stay here," he told Lisa. "If I'm not back in 5 minutes, contact Station Security and Earth Command." Code red. Before she could protest, John slipped through the hatch and disappeared. Inside his quarters, John moved silently. The lights were off, but he didn't need them. Years of training had taught him to see in the dark. The assassin was in the bedroom, searching through John's belongings. John took a breath and centered himself. In his mind, he heard his old commander's voice. "When you become Baba Yaga, you are no longer just a man. You become something they fear." The assassin sensed something and spun around, a blade appearing in its hand. It lunged at John with inhuman speed. But John was faster. He sidestepped the attack and struck with his metal rod. The assassin hissed in pain as electricity sparked from the contact point. They exchanged blows in the darkness, furniture breaking as they fought. The assassin was skilled, but John knew something it didn't. He had set traps in his own quarters for exactly this situation. With a quick move, John backed toward the bathroom door. The assassin followed, stepping on the pressure plate John had installed. A net of electrified wire dropped from the ceiling, entangling the killer. The assassin fell, struggling against the net. John pressed a button on his device, and the lights came on. "Who sent you?" John asked calmly. The assassin hissed something in its native language. John adjusted a small translator on his wrist. "The council will fall," the translation came through, "and humans will never be part of it." "Which council members hired you?" John pressed. The assassin struggled but couldn't break free. "I speak only to my employer." "Then you'll speak to me," John said, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "Do you know who I am?" For the first time, uncertainty flickered in the assassin's eyes. Lisa appeared at the door, a station security badge in her hand. "I called in some favors. We have 20 minutes before official security arrives." John nodded. "That's enough time." 15 minutes later, the assassin sat bound to a chair. Its metallic skin had lost some shine, and its eyes darted nervously between John and Lisa. "Chancellor Vrex leads them," it finally said. "6 council members want Earth excluded. They fear your kind." "Why?" Lisa asked. "Because you advance too quickly, because you adapt to anything, and because of him." The assassin nodded toward John. "They know something is not right about this diplomat." John stepped closer. "What else?" "They planned something at the summit. Something big. That is all I know." Station security arrived soon after. The assassin was taken into custody, but John knew it wouldn't stay there long. The conspirators had influence. Later, in Lisa's quarters, John received an encrypted message from Earth Command. "Protocol Omega active. Protect Earth's interests by any means necessary." "What does that mean?" Lisa asked, reading over his shoulder. John closed the message. "It means Baba Yaga is officially unleashed." "Who is Baba Yaga?" Lisa asked. "Not who," John replied, his eyes hard. "What? Baba Yaga is what they called me when I was sent to eliminate problems that couldn't be solved with diplomacy." Lisa looked at him with new understanding. "And now?" "Now," John said, "we hunt the hunters." Word spread quickly through Nexus Station about the assassin found in the human diplomat's quarters. Security patrols increased. Diplomats whispered in corners. Some looked at John with new interest. John and Lisa met in Sam's bar, away from curious eyes. They sat in a corner booth where Sam had disabled the surveillance. "The assassin escaped," Lisa said quietly. "Someone with high clearance helped it vanish from the detention center." John nodded. He had expected this. "We need to identify all 6 conspirators." "I've been digging through station records," Lisa said. "Besides Vrex, I'm certain about the Talgaran ambassador and the Myth representative." "That leaves 3 unknown," John said. Sam brought drinks to their table. "People are talking about you," he said to John. "They say the assassin was found tied up like a package. They say no normal diplomat could capture a Krell." John sipped his drink. People talk too much. Sam leaned closer. Some of the station workers are telling stories about Earth, about a human warrior so deadly that even other humans fear him. They call him Baba Yaga. Lisa watched John's face. He showed no reaction. Just stories, John said. But the rumors served a purpose. Fear was a weapon, and John knew how to use it. The next day, John attended a council session, as if nothing had happened. He noticed how some representatives watched him nervously. Others avoided his gaze entirely. Chancellor Vrex was absent. After the session, John was approached by an elderly alien with long white fur and gentle eyes. Ambassador Carter, the alien said, "I am Elder Zahn of the Palaxian Collective. We have not spoken before." "It's an honor to meet you, Elder," John replied with a respectful bow. "Walk with me," Zahn said. As they moved through the garden path, the Elder spoke softly. "I have lived for 300 of your Earth years. I have seen many diplomats come and go, but never have I seen one who moves as you do." John remained silent. "There are rumors of assassination attempts against you," Zahn continued, "and rumors of your response to these attempts." "Rumors often exaggerate," John said carefully. Elder Zahn's eyes twinkled. "Indeed. Yet sometimes they contain truth. Be careful, Ambassador. The summit approaches, and desperate beings do desperate things." That evening, another attempt was made on John's life. Poison in his food. John detected the odor instantly and alerted station security. The kitchen worker responsible disappeared before questioning. 2 days later, someone sabotaged the air supply to John's quarters. He was meeting with Lisa elsewhere at the time. When they returned, his environmental sensors warned him before they entered. "That's 3 attempts in 1 week," Lisa said as they watched security repair the system. "They're getting desperate," John replied. Word of these failures spread through the station. Whispers about the human diplomat grew louder. Some said he had enhanced senses. Others claimed he could see the future. A few maintenance workers swore they saw him moving through sections of the station that should have been impossible to access. The name Baba Yaga was spoken with growing fear. In his private chambers, Chancellor Vrex raged at his fellow conspirators. "How does one human diplomat evade our every attempt?" he snarled. "Perhaps he is not just a diplomat," suggested the Talgaran ambassador. "Whatever he is, he must be eliminated before the summit." Vrex insisted. "Earth cannot join the council. Their advancement threatens everything we have built." Vrex did not know that tiny cameras placed by John weeks earlier recorded his every word. In her quarters, Lisa watched the feed with wide eyes. "We have them," she told John. "All 6 conspirators, identified and recorded." John nodded. "But we need more than words. We need proof they ordered the assassination attempts." "The summit is in 3 days," Lisa reminded him. "Then that's where we'll trap them," John said. His eyes were cold now, the diplomat's mask slipping away to reveal the predator beneath. "They wanted to make their move at the summit. So will we." Lisa saw something dangerous in his expression. For the first time, she truly understood why enemies whispered the name Baba Yaga with fear. The day of the Galactic Summit arrived. Representatives from over 100 worlds gathered in the Grand Council chamber. The massive room sparkled with light reflecting off polished surfaces. Floating platforms carried delegates to their assigned sections. Security guards stood at every entrance. Earth's membership vote was scheduled for the afternoon session. It would be John's moment to secure humanity's place among the stars. In his quarters, John dressed carefully in his formal diplomatic uniform. The dark blue fabric was lined with special material that could stop most energy weapons. Hidden pockets held tools that no diplomat should carry. Lisa arrived to escort him to the chamber. "Security is tighter than usual," she said. "I've placed our allies in key positions." John nodded. Over the past days, they had gathered supporters. Sam had rallied station workers who respected the human diplomat. Elder Zahn had quietly spoken to trusted council members. Even some security officers had been convinced to help after seeing evidence of the conspiracy. Vrex will make his move today, John said. He has no choice. If Earth joins the Council, his position weakens. Are you ready? Lisa asked. John checked his hidden weapons one last time. Baba Yaga is always ready. They entered the council chamber as the session began. John took his place at the Earth delegation's table. From this position, he could watch all 6 conspirators. Vrex sat with the Zoraxian delegation, his scales gleaming under the lights. His eyes never left John. The summit proceeded through the morning agenda. Trade agreements were signed. Border disputes were settled. John participated as the perfect diplomat, showing no sign of the predator beneath the surface. As the afternoon session approached, John noticed subtle movements among Vrex's allies. A signal passed between them. Security guards at certain doors were quietly replaced. John tapped a hidden communicator in his sleeve. They're moving. Be ready. Lisa, positioned near the main controls, acknowledged with a tap of her own. The council president, a tall being with silvery skin, called the chamber to order. We now come to the vote regarding Earth's membership in the Galactic Council. John stood to address the gathering. All eyes turned to him. Honorable representatives, he began, Earth comes before you as a young civilization eager to learn and contribute. The chamber lights suddenly flickered. Emergency alarms blared. The main doors sealed shut. Security breach, announced the automated system. Panic erupted among the delegates. In the confusion, John saw armed figures entering through service doors, the same doors where Vrex had placed his security guards. This is our chance, Vrex shouted, rising from his seat. The human has compromised our systems. Earth seeks to control the council. The armed intruders moved toward John, weapons drawn. Delegates screamed and dove for cover. John stood calmly at his table. This was exactly what he had expected. He tapped his communicator twice. Throughout the chamber, hidden cameras activated, projecting giant images onto the walls. Every delegate could see recordings of Vrex and his conspirators planning the assassination attempts. Their own words condemned them. It seems someone has compromised the systems, John said, his voice carrying through the chaos. But it wasn't Earth. The armed intruders hesitated, confused by the unexpected exposure of their employers. In that moment, John moved. He vaulted over the table with inhuman speed. His diplomat's jacket fell away, revealing the combat gear underneath. The nearest attacker fired, but John was already gone, rolling beneath the shot. Lisa activated the secondary protocol. Lights flashed in a pattern that disoriented the attackers but not the delegates who had been given protective filters. Sam and his station workers emerged from service tunnels, carrying restraints for the conspirators. What is this? Roared Vrex, backing away as his plans collapsed. Justice, John said, appearing beside the Zoraxian with a speed that shouldn't have been possible. The council deserves truth, not assassination and lies. The chamber fell silent as everyone watched the human diplomat transform before their eyes. His movements were precise and lethal. His eyes held the cold focus of a predator. An attacker lunged at John from behind. Without looking, John disabled him with a single, perfect strike. Whispers spread through the watching delegates. Baba Yaga, someone said. The human is Baba Yaga. Chaos erupted in the council chamber. Delegates scrambled for safety as armed attackers moved through the room. Security systems failed, plunging sections into darkness. John Carter stood in the center of the storm, perfectly calm. Protect the delegates, he ordered Lisa through his communicator. Then he turned to face the attackers. The first one rushed him with an energy blade. John stepped aside with fluid grace. His hand shot out, fingers striking a pressure point. The attacker collapsed. Two more came at him from different angles. John moved like water between them, turning their attacks against each other. He seemed to know where every blow would land before it was thrown. A Zoraxian guard fired an energy weapon at John's back. John dropped and rolled, coming up with a small device in his hand. He threw it with perfect accuracy. It stuck to the guard's weapon and sent an electric pulse that disabled both the gun and the guard. "What is he?" gasped a delegate hiding under a table. "Human," another answered with newfound respect. Across the chamber, Chancellor Vrex realized his plan was failing. He barked orders into a communicator. "Release the gas. Lock down all exits." Vents in the ceiling opened, releasing a pale yellow mist. Delegates began coughing and collapsing where they stood. John pulled a small mask from his belt and covered his mouth and nose. He tapped his communicator. "Lisa, override the environmental controls." Lisa worked frantically at a control panel. "I can't. They've locked me out." John scanned the room. Elder Zahn and several other delegates were already unconscious. Soon, everyone would be. Without hesitation, John ran toward the main ventilation hub on the far wall. 3 attackers moved to intercept him. He didn't slow down. The first attacker fired. John dropped to his knees, sliding beneath the shot. Still sliding, he grabbed the attacker's leg and pulled. As the attacker fell, John was already engaging the second. His movements were no longer those of a diplomat. Each strike was precise and devastating. He fought with the efficiency of someone who had trained for decades. The third attacker backed away in fear. "It's true," he whispered. "You are Baba Yaga." John didn't respond. He reached the ventilation hub and pulled tools from hidden pockets. Within seconds, he had the panel open. His fingers flew over the controls, recoding the system. The yellow gas began to clear. Fresh air pumped into the chamber. But Vrex had one final plan. He reached a different control panel and pressed a series of buttons. "If I can't stop Earth from joining, I'll destroy the entire council." Warning lights flashed. A computer voice announced, "Station core breach imminent. 15 minutes to evacuation." "He's overloading the power core," Lisa said through the communicator. "If it blows, the entire station will be destroyed." John turned to face Vrex. The Zoraxian stood surrounded by his remaining guards. Between them lay dozens of unconscious delegates who would die if the station exploded. "It's over, human," Vrex called. "Even Baba Yaga cannot save everyone." John's eyes narrowed. He reached into another hidden pocket and pulled out a small metal sphere. "I am not here to save everyone," he said, his voice carrying across the silent chamber. "I am here to stop you." He threw the sphere. It split into dozens of tiny drones that flew through the air with incredible speed. Before Vrex's guards could react, the drones had disabled their weapons. John moved. Those still conscious watched in awe as he crossed the chamber faster than seemed possible. Guards fell before they could raise their weapons. Nothing stopped his advance. Vrex backed away in terror. "Stay back. I am a council member." "You cannot." John reached him and placed a hand on the control panel. "I am Baba Yaga," he said quietly. "And you tried to kill my people." With his other hand, he struck Vrex with calculated force. The Zoraxian collapsed. John's fingers flew over the control panel, reversing the overload sequence. The warning lights stopped flashing. "Core stabilized," announced the computer voice. Around the chamber, delegates who had remained conscious stared at the human in their midst. The rumors they had dismissed as exaggeration now seemed like understatements. Sam appeared at John's side, helping Elder Zahn to his feet. "I think," the elder said weakly, "Earth has proven its worth to the Council today." 3 days after the failed assassination attempt, the Galactic Council reconvened. The Grand Chamber had been repaired, with no visible signs of the battle that had taken place, but everyone present remembered what had happened. John Carter sat at the Earth delegation's table. He wore his diplomatic uniform again, but no one viewed him as just a diplomat anymore. Delegates from worlds that had previously ignored Earth now nodded respectfully as they passed. The Council President called the session to order. "Our first matter today is the trial of Chancellor Vrex and his co-conspirators." Guards led Vrex and the 5 other conspirators into the chamber. They wore restraints and looked defeated. "The evidence against you is clear," the president said. "You conspired to assassinate Ambassador Carter. You endangered the entire council. You violated our most sacred laws of diplomatic protection." Vrex kept his eyes on the floor. The mighty Zoraxian, who had once strutted through these halls, now seemed small. "Before we pass judgment," the president continued, "Ambassador Carter has requested to speak." John stood and approached the center of the chamber. All eyes watched him, some with fear, others with respect, all with new understanding. "I came to Nexus Station representing a young species," John said. "Many of you believed humans were not ready for the council. Perhaps you were right." He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of delegates from 100 worlds. "Humanity is young. We make mistakes. We sometimes act before we think. But we also adapt. We learn. We survive." John turned to face Vrex directly. "The conspirators feared humanity because we are different. They saw our rapid advancement as a threat rather than an opportunity. They chose fear over friendship." He turned back to the council. "Earth does not seek revenge. We seek understanding. I ask the council to show mercy in their punishment, while ensuring such a conspiracy cannot happen again." Murmurs of surprise spread through the chamber. No one had expected the human to ask for mercy. The council debated briefly before reaching a decision. Vrex and his co-conspirators were stripped of their positions and sentenced to rehabilitation on a peaceful outer world. Their home planets would remain council members, but with reduced influence for 10 years. After the sentencing, the president called for the vote on Earth's membership. The result was unanimous. Earth was welcomed as a full member of the Galactic Council. At the celebration that followed, John stood with Lisa and Sam, watching delegates from across the galaxy mingle with the Earth delegation. "What happens now?" Lisa asked. "Earth Command has asked me to stay on as Earth's official representative," John replied. Sam laughed. "No one will dare challenge you again. The legend of Baba Yaga has spread to every corner of the galaxy." Elder Zahn approached their group. "Ambassador Carter, your actions have changed the council forever." "For better or worse?" John asked. "For better," the elder said. "Fear of the unknown led to this conspiracy. Now that we truly know humans, now that we have seen your capacity for both strength and mercy, that fear is fading." Across the room, representatives from worlds that had once opposed humanity now approached Earth delegates with offers of trade and cultural exchange. Species that had never worked together found common ground in their new relationship with Earth. Later that night, John stood alone at a viewport, looking out at the stars. He thought about the journey that had brought him here. From Earth Special Forces to Galactic Diplomat, from hunter to peacemaker. Lisa joined him. "Thinking about home. Thinking about the future," John replied. "Earth has found its place among the stars." "Thanks to Baba Yaga," she said with a smile. John shook his head. "Baba Yaga got us through the door, but it will take diplomats to keep us here." A group of new delegates approached them cautiously. One leaned toward another and whispered just loud enough for John to hear. "Is it true what they say? That he defeated 20 armed guards without a weapon? That he cannot be killed?" Lisa smiled at John. "The legend grows." "Let them have their legend," John said quietly. "It serves its purpose." As ambassadors from across the galaxy gathered around Earth's diplomatic team, word continued to spread. Never threaten a human diplomat. Especially not that one.